Good day, this is Betty White. Let's take some time to grind.
Alright, we're gonna hit this thing here? Is that what we're gonna do?
Old mate.
Old mate.
You gotta give me a moment.
Alright.
Now I gotta grind some shit. Now I gotta grind some shit. Now I gotta grind some shit. Now I gotta grind some
What strain you got?
pink strawberry gelato.
Now I gotta grind some.
Alright.
I just pulled out a nug, dude.
Now I gotta grind some.
Old mate.
Old mate. Now I gotta grind some shit.
Save 10 bucks, code Troy, enjoy.
So I think the first thing that we're going to talk about in this series, and the whole series is going to be basically all the things that we're really reaching for. Like, I'm a reviewer, Jerry's a reviewer and a curator. We've been collecting hardware for decades now at this point. A lot of people are always asking, like, hey, when's the last time you used this? Or how often do you use this? And there's a lot of vapes that just don't get used at all. And then there are a few things that get used daily. And I think those are the most special things, because those are like the winners of the ultimate reach test. I mean, I've got 100 grinders back there. I've got them all. Like, people are like, hey, have you tried this grinder? I'm like, no, but I will. I will go out and find that grinder and buy it just so I can try it, just so I can compare it, just so when people ask me, I'll have a valid answer. Like, what's the difference between this and that? Like, I want to know that. And I'm committed to finding out. That's why I got all the vapes. That's why I got all the grinders. I like doing that shit. I'm passionate about it. So the things that stay on my desk, and this is not an intentional test. This is like natural selection.
Right. Perfect.
The things that stay on my desk, the things that stay on Jerry's desk are the winners of natural selection. Like, we got all the shit. Like, what are you going to use when you don't have to use something? What are you going to grab to grind if you don't have to test a grinder, Jerry? This motherfucker right here. The old mate.
I was thinking about that today because I was writing the blog post for today. Guys, you check out our website, troyandjerry.com. We got a blog post all the time there. Lots of links. You can get all this shit there for figure out what the discount codes are. Anyhow, that came up because this of course was on the blog post. And I was thinking, the last time I used a grinder this much was the Brilliant Cut, obviously. And we used that hard for years, and they sponsored the show, and it's a phenomenal grinder, and it's still, I would not argue with somebody if they said it's the best grinder out there. I would not argue against that.
Yep.
But it's not a fidget spinner, and I have some OCD, and I can't stop using this grinder. I'll sit here and hold it and spin it when I'm not grinding. Like, if it weren't so heavy, it'd probably go everywhere with me.
Yeah. And that was the interesting thing, is when I first started testing this grinder, I was coming from the Brilliant Cut. I had 3 Brilliant Cuts on my desk at all times. At all times. I had 3 large Brilliant Cuts. And I loved it because I could like, oh, this one's an indica and this one's a hybrid. If I want to grind up a new strain, I can use my grinder as the storage container. This thing arrived. I started testing it, and in some ways it was better than the Brilliant Cut. It's stainless steel, it's heavier, but in a bunch of ways it's not as good as the Brilliant Cut. The grind consistency isn't as good as the Brilliant Cut. It's not as airtight as the Brilliant Cut, but this thing won the reach test by a lot. There was a point where this thing made me mad. When you hear me say that if you're going to travel, this isn't the best grinder for traveling, that's only because I went to put it in my bag. I went to travel with it. I went to put it in my bag. I grabbed it like this, like a normal ape that I am. I grabbed it, and because of the bearing, it water weenied out of my hand and landed on my toe. and it bruised my toe, like underneath the nail. And I had a bruise there for like a fucking year, for like more than a year.
Yeah.
Dude, it hurts. I cried. Like, I cried so hard, Jerry. Like, I cried when that grinder landed on my toe. I thought my toe was broken. You know, and maybe it was.
It's like a brick with a point.
So when I say that this grinder is not travel friendly, it's because it has like a water weenie effect if you don't grab it by the right points. Yeah. And on the whole best grinder thing, it may not be the best grinder. It may not have the best consistency. It may not have built-in storage and all that shit. It's heavy. And it's so fun to play with. Like, I can't tell you how many times I will pick up and spin this grinder at a time when I'm not even intending to grind or even vape. You know, like, type in a tough email. Just lean back in my chair, grab my grinder. You know, it's
get the juices going.
If it's a fun thing, we talk about like the Tafe bowl being like multi-purpose. You know, it's more than just a vape. It sits on your. You can put snacks in it, you put your drink in it. You know, it's multi-purpose. It has integration. This has a life integration for like stimming type of activity that I was not expecting. I never had a fidget spinner when fidget spinners were all hyped and all the kids had fidget spinners. Right. As much as I wanted one, never bought one because I knew it would just go through the wash, and then my wife would bitch at me for spending $16 and letting it go through the wash. Now I got my goddamn fidget spinner, and it's the best thing ever. It grinds weed. It's stainless steel. It's sharp as fuck. And look how dirty it is.
Yeah. That's the crazy part.
It still grinds just fine.
Dude, when you first told me about this thing, I was like, no, dude, that's just gonna get gunked up. Like, I don't, that's a dumb idea. And then you had it for like months before I got one. And when I got one, I didn't use it to grind weed for a good month because I just enjoyed fidgeting with it. I was like, I don't want it to gum up.
You didn't want to fuck it up. You were like, no, I don't want to fuck up. It spins so fast.
It's great. I just had so much fun fidgeting with it. And then finally I was like, all right, let's try it out. And I tried it and I was like, oh, that's like butter. Like, this fucker just is like butter. And then I kept using it. I was like, it's not getting stuck. Like, it doesn't get jammed. It just keeps going. And so I love it that I don't worry about the grinding part fucking up the fidget spinny part. And then when I finally started using it, I was like, yeah, the grind is not as it's not as perfect as a brilliant cut, you know. And so I was like kind of grind snobbing it. But it didn't seem to matter, Troy. 6 weeks later, it was all I used. And I was like, why am I picking up this grinder that I keep saying doesn't, I'm a function over form guy every day of the week. Why am I grabbing something that I think doesn't perform as well as something else and using it every day? And it's not that it's actually a really good grind. It's just not the best grind. And, but that's had a revelation. I was like, oh, okay, well, so it grinds good enough, and I don't know what good enough is, but clearly this is it. And maybe I don't need that perfect grind that I had before, because I'm not sitting here going, oh, my vapes don't perform as well. I don't notice a difference in the performance. You know what I mean? It's a lot of this shit's more theoretical than anecdotal.
Exactly. Like, I don't notice any difference in performance, but I do notice a difference in my enjoyment. Like, every time I pick it up, it's a thing, you know. Like, I interact with it with the camera, and whether the camera's on or off, dude. Like, I'm still doing things with it. Like, I set things on it and I spin it. Sometimes I spin it and I put things on it to see how far I can make them flick. You know, like, it's an amusement toy, and I know that sounds silly, but I think we need that in life, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's a stress ball or the pen that you spin on your thumb, or, you know, it's remarkable how helpful those kind of therapeutic little things can be in little increments. It really is. Like I haven't done any studies or done any reading on it. You just combust.
Oh,
Jesus, that's a ton of vapor that you just pulled out of that thing.
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Loved this grinder. Loved it well before they had any affiliate agreement. That's how I am. I was actually the same way with Brilliant Cut. You know that, Jerry?
True that.
Like I reviewed the grinder, the Brilliant Cut grinder, and called it the best grinder out there. And I did that before I had an affiliate deal with them.
Yeah, dude. You'll find that's kind of the way we roll is if I have an affiliate with somebody, I'm probably talking about them a lot. But it's because we talk about them a lot that we get the affiliate. It's like, I like this product. I want to see other people have this product. I want a code that I can give them so they can save some money on this product. And that's where it goes. And so that's why what did so well with the Brilliant Cut and with this thing here with your affiliate, like you're talking about, like it's the perfect real marriage. Cause I mean, we just fucking use this dumb thing every day. And I don't know anybody who's gotten it and doesn't like it. Like I'm sure there's somebody out there and maybe you run into them in the community, but everybody I know who has it, like loves the fucking thing.
I mean, I think there's been a few people who like, I really like the Brilliant Cut coarse plate. You know, it's like, okay, it's like that's legit. Like if you're really into that coarse grind or even the fine grind, you know, some people like, I think the things that I've heard people complain about are the air tightness. Like people that grind up a bunch of weed and then leave it in their grinder. This grinder wasn't quite as airtight as the Brilliant Cut. When it's clean, get it dirty, it makes a big difference. I can leave herb in here for a couple days, and it doesn't get ridiculously dry.
Herb seal there, little herb O-ring built up on your thing there, man. I love it.
Yeah, a little hash ring, little hash seal.
Dude,
That's a natural way to do it, you know. The nose grease, the hash seal. Yeah. We're stoners.
Yeah, man. Why not, man? Why not?
Have you ever taken like Reclaim and put it on a joint so it doesn't so it'll stick somewhere?
No, but that's brilliant, actually. So I like that. I'm gonna think about what I can do with that kind of shit. All right. So, all right, good. So let's stop talking about the grinder because that was because I love this thing and if I love all these things and we'll be here all night. So, what's the next one you want to talk about, man? That's the grinder we're using, guys.